It's only you that know what you intend to achieve through this. In all this, I ask that only your name be glorified in the name of Jesus. Father, I'm only an instrument to pass an information. Father, help as many as are listening to me to get what they needed to get from this in the name of Jesus. And that at the end of the day, glory, honor, and adoration will be only unto you in the wonderful name of Jesus. Amen. And fill it up. Find a problem and solve it. He used IT audit as an example that day, that this is a field that is relatively new and a lot of people are not into it already. I encourage us to go back to the net. We have phones. Use your phone. Get something for yourself. Learn a trade. Learn a skill. All these are okay. We are not deviating from any of this. It's the foundation. And if you want to succeed, if you want to make money, please go back. Continue working on this because you can't miss it with all that. Praise the Lord. This morning, I want us to start with Proverbs chapter 22, verse 5. I'll just read for this. Proverbs 21, verse 5, rather. The plan of a diligent leads surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty, surely is poverty. Which are your plans? Is your plan a diligent one? Are you the hasty one? Is our decision to make. The ball is all yours. Whatever you choose today will decide your tomorrow. So you have an open book. Write as much as you will. Take as much as time as you want. But please, let your goal be that at the end of the day, you are able to carve a niche for yourself. I'm going to be talking on the mortgage. I can't access the screen, but let me use my paper. The first page there, I put in icebreaker. Well, what this first page is all about is a few principles on biblical ways of making money. This you read all up by yourselves. The first one we have there is, in everything, don't forget that God is the source of everything. You want money, God is the source. Yes, you work, but God is still the source. And when you're making this money, don't forget to give. Give, it shall be given back unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, shall men give unto your bosom. And then learn to live on the margin. Give space. In anything you do, give space. Like I was told, there are 3 ways to arrive a place. It's either you arrive early, you arrive on time, or you arrive late. These are all margins. In whatever you're doing, project. This thing I'm going to do, I want to do it early. I want to do it on time. I want to do it late. It's all yours for the take. The Bible also supports savings. What is your attitude towards saving? Yes, I know a lot of us will say, my money is not much, but for goodness sake, if you cannot say little if you cannot say little, in that very little you're getting tomorrow, today, when you get that millions tomorrow, you still will not save. And remember, for every 1,000 you put aside every month or every week in the bank or somewhere, there is an interest that accrues to it. Aside the interest, when there is need, you have something to fall back on. You don't have to go running helter-skelter. By the way, somebody asked a question last week that his money is small. How can he be able to gather money to buy a land or a house? And then I have an answer for you. The first land I ever bought in this town, I did the contribution. I wasn't earning much then. It was a monthly contribution. We gathered a few of us. We were like, okay, I need money. How am I going to go about it? We gathered ourselves. We said the amount then was 300,000. So each person contributed. We were like around 18 of us. at a go, we were able to raise that 300,000, and I paid. Then subsequently, my own subsequent contribution was payment for that. Of course, I've already utilized that money. And of course, it gave me an opportunity to say, because if I told myself, by myself, I was going to save up that 300,000, I may, if I'm disciplined, but the opportunity might not be there. As at that time, I'm able to gather that money. So I called a few people. I said, this is my need. How are we going to do it? Somebody said, let us contribute. Everybody. And you use it and solve your problem. The next month, the next person will use it and solve whatever pressing need they have. That was how I bought the first land I ever did in this town of Abuja. So we encourage you to save. Yes, it might not be much, but whatever it is, no matter how little, go out and save something. That thing, easy credit is what we have everywhere nowadays. You get easy credit now, and tomorrow it makes you uneasy. Please, let's not live by easy credit. For those of us that are self-employed, that doing one form of trade or the other, please keep records. You keep saying, this is my small business, nothing is coming out of it. Something is coming out of it. You probably not seen it because you're not keeping record. If you start a business with 20,000 naira, keep a record. After 1 month, take stock. If you're keeping record, after 1 month, go through what you have written. You will know that you're making something. But because you are not keeping record, you cannot. And if you don't keep record, how are you even going to progress? For small business enterprises, you need to keep records if you want to go beyond that level. Keep a budget too. Live within the budget. Don't live beyond your means. This life, we are not in any competition with anybody. You came to this world by yourself. And the day you leave here, God is not going to hold you accountable for the life another person lived. God is not going to ask you about the life of that person you were copying. He's going to ask you about your own life. I sent you there. I gave you time. What did you do with that time? Please, let us live on a budget. Let's stop following the Joneses. No, it won't take you anywhere. It will only make you end up in debt. Seek counsel. For any business you want to do, if it is a saloon business, go to somebody that has done that business before. Ask them. Ask questions. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety. You can't miss it when you ask questions. And then work hard. We already know that. Work hard and keep working hard and keep working hard. With God on your side, success is assured. Oh, well, at the end of this session, my aim is that you would have known what Federal Mortgage Bank does. You'll be able to identify the products of Federal Mortgage Bank. You'll be able to choose a window where you fit in and probably kickstart the process. Who is Federal Mortgage, or what is Federal Mortgage Bank? Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is an apex secondary mortgage bank saddled with the responsibility to collect, administer, and manage the National Housing Fund via the National Housing Act of 1991 and an enabling act of 1992 CAP F16. How is the scheme funded? It is funded through mandatory contribution of 2.5% of monthly income of all Nigerians earning 3,000 and above. As at the time this act was done, it was 3,000 and above, but today is the minimum wage. For anybody that is earning a minimum wage, you are bound by this act to contribute 2.5% of your monthly income into this scheme to be able to access the scheme. Commercial banks are to invest 10% of their loans and advances portfolio. The insurance companies are mandated to invest 20% of non-life and 40% of life funds in the housing sector, with 50% of these directly in the fund. And then there is a financial contribution from the federal government as subvention. What is the benefit you stand to get if you key into this program. You have a housing loan of up to 90% of the cost of the house. What I mean by 90%, you want to access a loan of 10 million. Federal Mortgage Bank will give you a loan of 9 million. Those days anyway, because currently for any loan below 10 million, you do not have any personal stake. It's only the ones that are above 10 million that you are asked to get a personal stake. Maybe 30%, in 40 and 50%. Interest on loan remains fixed throughout the period. We are not like a commercial bank that will give you loan today for 10%, tomorrow tell you for this reason, that reason we have reviewed. No. Our 6% remains 6% throughout the duration of the loan. Then you have a long period of repayment for the maximum of 30 years. This period is actually dependent upon your age. If you are 40 years, for instance, it's assumed you have 20 more years for active service. So if you are assessing the loan at that point, your repayment period should be 20 years. We give up to 50 million naira. It used to be 5 million. It was reviewed to 15 million. And as I speak, currently, it's been reviewed to 50 million to allow more access. Because we found out that hardly can that 50 million afford anybody, any house anymore. Contribution can serve as an additional old age security. Why old age security? Because when you retire, it's up to you. It's either you choose, assuming you benefited, it's either you choose to use that as part of your repayment or to be paid back your contribution at 2% interest. Benefits of the fund continue. Okay. Loan repayment is about the same as a typical rent. Assume you pay your rent on monthly basis, though it's not allowed in this part of the country, but it's just like you paying your rent on a monthly basis instead of on a lump sum. So you get a house, instead of paying a landlord, you now be paying Federal Mortgage Bank monthly. If the house is worth 600,000, divide by 12, whatever it is, you'll be paying on monthly basis with a 6% interest. Amortized though. Every contributor has a lifetime registration number and a passbook for personal recording of contribution. Yes, this contribution is recorded by your employee, not by yourself, and is transferable from one employment to the other. And as well, I've talked about the contribution yielding interest after every. Federal Mortgage Bank loan products. We have in our purview the National Housing Fund loan. 6% is the interest. You can access up to 50 million. The maximum years of repayment is 30 years. This is what everybody knows. There we have the home renovation loan, which is 1 million naira. This is given to you to renovate your house. You're already in a house. It could be a rented apartment. It could be your personal house. But you need to do some renovation work. You approach Federal Mortgage Bank with a bill of quantity assigned by an authorized quantity surveyor, and we assess and give you loan of 1 million naira. This one is repayable in 4 years. The interest on this is 8%. And it's such that after repayment, you just have additional 1 year. If you want to assess again, it's allowed. Then we have the rent to own. That one attracts a 7% interest rate. On as much as 50 million, loan tenure is 30 years or your number of years. Then we have the construction loan that attracts an interest of 7%. Tenure of this is 15 years. You can access as much as 50 million too. We have the estate development loan. These are for the big boys. The estate development loan, the cooperative housing loan, the informal and informal sector, those ones are for the big boys. They are for developers. A developer that has land that want to build for sale can approach Federal Mortgage Bank to partner with them. And when you partner with us, we fund this house in turns will bring off-takers under the window of rent to own to take off those houses from you. And this one is attracts 10% and a tenure of only 24 months. Same goes for the cooperative housing loan, formal and informal sector. That's why you have two of them there. The one is formal, the other one is informal. I know you want to know which one is formal. Cooperative Housing Society of, say, let's say, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing is a formal cooperative society. And that of XYZ Ventures is an informal sector. That is the difference. So the conditions differ, though very minimal. Who is eligible to apply? All Nigerians in employment, whether self-employed or paid employment, are required by the NHF Act to contribute 2.5% of their basic salary and fund to the fund. The procedure of the registration is as follows. You register via NHF 1 form for the employer and NHF 2 form for the employees. And if you're self-employed, you register with the NHF 2 forms. The NHF 1 form is for employers. For the company, you register your company to contribute. And after registering the company, on return, we give you forms for your employees, which is the NHF 2 forms, so that they can start contributing. The formal sector, rather, is deducted from the source. Like this day of IPs, everything is deducted from the source, and IPs at the end of the month makes remittance to Federal Mortgage Bank. For the banks, they do it themselves. And I've talked about passbook that is supposed to be updated on a monthly basis, because that is what entitles you to refund when you retire, without which there won't be any refund. And let me say something. There is one thing for these monies to be deducted, is another thing for these monies to be remitted. We have had scenarios where people retire from service and you check their account. Yes, from your office and your pay advice, the monies were deducted, but no payment was made. Or in some cases, payments were made, but without schedules. For bankers here, you know what it means to make a lump sum without schedule. That money is there as a lump sum. Yeah, we received it as a lump sum. But because there are no schedules, we cannot say who owns what portion of that money. So when you retire, you are stranded. There is nothing. As I speak, I have an uncle that has retired last year, April last year, and as at this moment, he's not been able to access his refund. What is the problem? The Accountant General has not been able to remit their monies. So it's a question of, if you want us to give you what we have, we give you what we have. But if you can wait for these remittances to be made, then you get better money. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this so that it is not enough for the money to be deducted. As the person whose money has been deducted, see it through, that it is submitted, it is remitted, and schedules submitted, so that individual contribution can be captured appropriately. Okay, how do you repay? Repayment shall be made through mortgage loan originator. Who is the mortgage loan originator? A primary mortgage bank. Like you have the ASO Savings and Loan, First Generation Homes, Platinum Savings and Home, AG Homes. The list is unending. You approach one of them, you find a house, I want to benefit from this. You find an estate, you approach the estate developer. I need a house, how can I participate? They tell you, they give you an offer. With that offer, the first question you should ask is, who is your PMB? Who are you partnering with? So we can key in through them. And when they say they don't have, you'd have to come to us to recommend one for you. That is if they allow mortgage, because some don't allow mortgage. But for the ones that do, if they don't have a PMB, then you approach Federal Mortgage Bank. That is if you're applying under the platform of a National Housing Loan. But if you're applying under the platform of rent to own, you deal directly with Federal Mortgage Bank. There is no PMB in between. You come to us direct. You tell us, I have seen a house, this is it, that is it, that is it. We say, okay, go and get an offer from the developer. When you get the offer, come back to us. We process the loan for you. And repayment in that case is done directly to Federal Mortgage Bank. Okay. Another thing I want to elaborate on is the cooperative housing loan. The cooperative housing loan, like I said, is of two nature. We have the one for the informal sector and the one for the formal sector. The one for the informal sector is the most ideal, or is a less cumbersome one for self-employed people. Because in most cases, these houses are not as expensive as the other ones. Having said that, again, to a large extent, the cooperators have a say. It's like you people you work together, you decide where you want to get this land, you decide the kind of houses you want to build, and within yourself as well agree the prices these houses will be sold before even coming to Federal Mortgage Bank. You see, it's easier for those in the informal sector. Because if I say, go to a formal sector now to get a house, they will first of all tell you, okay, you will first of all domicile your salary with us, and you don't have a salary. That becomes a problem. But if you're applying through this window, that problem won't be there, because you are coming as a cooperator under that cooperative society that is assessing that loan. So it's quite easier for you to assess. And our construction loan, maybe I didn't talk about that properly. The construction loan allows you to build your own house. You have your land. It has a C of O. For Abuja in particular, it has to be a C of O. But outside Abuja, in some states, right of occupancy is allowed. But Abuja is C of O. You apply with all that, because at the end of the day, your title document is the collateral for the loan. Whether you are assessing it as an individual or through a developer, the title document is the collateral for the loan. So if you're coming under the construction window, we verify your document, your land title document, whether it's genuine or not, and we ascertain that it's genuine. We now assess your request, how much you want, and give. In most cases, the rule is that it will be disbursed to you in 3 tranches. The first is 30%, the second is 30%, and the fourth will be 40%. And at every stage, our professionals, in-house professionals, are monitoring the progress of work to avoid default or collecting the money and not channeling it to the purpose for which it was given. Thank you very much for listening. At this juncture, I want you to ask questions.
3 questions.
Okay.
I would like to know the current properties, estates that qualify for mortgage loan that FMBN will sponsor. Because if you look around, all these estates you see, a lot of the properties, they're outside the range of the loans that FMBN can give. So you really don't know what is going on. Sometimes you find out that, a particular estate was sponsored by FMBN, but by the time you find out, it's gone. It's already stale news. So we'd like to know if they are current ones so that we can buy in. My second question, what is the current solution FMBN has that is available for issues around bureaucracy and greed of primary mortgage institutions, primary mortgage banks? FMBN, as I speak to you, I have not processed my FMBN. You can only take it once, okay? I have not processed mine. The reason is this: there's a lot of bureaucracy on the documentation. That is one. Two, when you get the money, it doesn't come to me direct. It will go to a primary mortgage bank. Those banks are greedy. They will take your money. They will contract a developer to come and develop. They will build sand house for you, mud block, terrible structure that will cost like maybe 3 million to just put it up. Pa, 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 pa. If you enter the house, you lean on the wall, it's falling. You hold burglary, the thing will fall you down. What happened? They say they built a house for you, and you are paying so much millions on it. What happened? The greed of the developer, the primary mortgage institution, and collaborating with developer, and you too, FMBN, the bureaucracy not be here. I started processing one time, I had to abandon it because of long story. That is the second one. The third question I have: how can an individual get more than, I saw the products that were listed. Is it that I can qualify for more than one? So maybe one can patronize more than one product. Okay. Then, lastly, I am an employee. My employer is deducting my contribution. If that employer is not remitting it to FMBN, as an employee, what can I do? Do I have control over it? What is the solution? There are some institutions I've worked with. When I checked the records, I saw that they were not remitting to FMBN. I'm just an individual, a bloody civilian. How do I confront a UBA, a First Bank, that you didn't remit my... what are the solutions for employees, for small people?
For non-remittance, there's supposed to be a penalty for the organization. So you, as the employee, you notice your deductions are not being remitted. You come to Federal Mortgage Bank, complain to them, they will take it up. With the *219#, you should be able to know your contribution, the figure, the total figure. If you check it regularly, you'll be able to know whether it's adding or not. And if you can't do all that, if you come to Federal Mortgage Bank, well, if you have to tour that line, you have to go to our office in Area 2. Because of course, we want to recover all the monies out there. So you coming to tell them is kind of telling them this organization is contributing but no remittance. So they will take it off from there. You don't even need to do anything officially. You just print my statement of account. By the time they print it and see that for long there's not been anything coming in, they will take it up. Even if you don't tell them, they will take it up to get that money. That is that. Then applying more than one platform window, no. You can only apply one window. But the only other option you have is the home renovation loan. But at the same time, the two loans cannot be running at the same time. If you have a loan running, if you have the NHF loan running currently, you cannot access that one. But if you don't have anyone running, you can access the home renovation loan. And as soon as, while you are on that, you can be processing the other one. And as soon as that one is maturing, you pay off this one and stay with only that one. That's the only time you can access two windows. Short of that, you can only access one. Okay, it's either the National Housing Fund window, the construction, the rent to own. And then we are supposed to have a diaspora loan. I did mention that because the paperwork is still ongoing. So I don't want to mislead anybody. When that is running, we know. But right now, we are still doing the paperwork. And then for the bureaucracy, that is a big thing. I know back then when I got my house, and I'm sure it's the same time Pastor got his house because it's the same estate. It took almost 2 years to process that loan. Yes. Yes. It took almost 2 years. That I'm taking you down the memory lane. So after that, they've been able to reduce it to 6 months. And as I speak now, it's like 3 months. We are still working. You know, the major problem is the document, the title document. The fact that they have to be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes you go today, there's no encumbrances. Tomorrow there are encumbrances. So nobody wants to stick their head where the road is not clear. But I assure you that our turnaround time, we are working on it regularly. We are even hoping, last week we had a meeting. We are hoping that if it is possible, we should make it in 1 week. We should be able to access a loan in 1 week. But honestly, with the situation on ground, online read time and whatnot, 3 months is the least we can do for now. And that 3 months is still dependent on the documents submitted. If there are no issues, it flies. That's on one hand. Then another reason why these things delay is coming from the PMBs. Sometimes they have, should I say, they do not want to deal with Federal Mortgage Bank because their complaint is that our interest is low for them. If they have a way of boycotting Federal Mortgage Bank, that's what they do. So when that is the situation, they dump your application with Federal Mortgage Bank. And you're thinking we are the ones delaying you. When they are not forthcoming, you keep writing, they are not responding. That's what happens most of the time. So that's why the delays we have processing these loans. Is there something I've not answered, sir? The bedroom is 18 million, somewhere in Gosa. I think I spoke to mommy about it within the week. The duplex will be coming up soon. I don't know when exactly, but that is what I know that is available currently in Abuja. Is this C&C Estate? So opposite to Wise Estate in Gosa. That's the only one I know right now that is available. But for the greed of the PMIs, like you said, when somebody decides to loan you their money at whatever interest, Federal Mortgage Bank should not have a say in that because it's their money. I just answered that they say our interest is low. And if they have their way, they won't want to do business with us because there's nothing, they have little thing at stake there. So business with their own money. In that circumstance, there's nothing Federal Mortgage Bank can do about it because it's not our money. Thank you very much. Sir, have I been able to answer all?
One of the things that I've observed over time is come up with fantastic program. The bureaucracies and run operators like you are the problem of the masses. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. You're right.
I go to work every day as a doctor, and all I wanted is every month I want to be paid. Here, I want to know how much is my worth in terms of tax, and all I wanted to do is just fill in my tax form and get to Federal Inland Revenue, collect my certificate. Couple of times that I've been there, and they will just look at it and say, go and pay 5.5 million to get your tax for that year. Why? Your employer is underpaying your taxes. Do I work in my office, account department? When will I raise 5.5 million? I just abandon it. Now, if I want to contest election, and I said I work in so and so place, they will say, where is your tax return? These are the bottlenecks that introduce corruption into our system. If I want to contest, all I need to do is just look for someone who works in that office. Clear me, I pay whatsoever, and I present fake document. But these systems are automatically going to run by themselves. If we have housing funds, educational funds for my children. What do I have to fight over and die prematurely? Why? It's madness to steal what you don't need. And many of us don't know that if you have more than what you need, it begins to intoxicate you and you begin to misbehave. I want to look at this program as good as it is. My brother had said something last week. If I marry the two together, they are good things for the church to learn. But what is there for a common man? What is there for someone who perhaps opened a provision shop? What is there for a saloonist? Do they have access to these funds? If they have access to it, how many of them has benefited? I work with FCT Health Insurance. I introduce a scheme where we go to the market, we go to local government and tell them with just 13,000 naira, you can benefit for a whole health scheme for a whole year, including operation. You have a baby, they can operate, this still covers you. And if you have any issue, come, this is our report line. And we have a line that does not close 24 hours. Any report regarding that, the one they cannot handle, they pass it to us and we'll make sure that it's handled. Every organization must have a feedback mechanism. Are we really meeting the target of the people, or we are deceiving ourselves? The Lord will help us.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
It's not really working because I'm a civil servant and they keep on deducting my money every month on this basis. We went to the office to apply for a loan for land, and they said that the amount they can give it to me is 1 million. How will I build, or how will I get a land of 1 million before I start building? So they told me that they will be deducting the money for 4 years. And before they will even give it to me, have a lot of procedures. So I was so confused. I was tired. I don't even know, because they said they have to check with my income, the amount that they are paying me monthly, that my money is not enough for me to get like 10 or 15 million. So, and the money they are deducting every day, every month. So I don't know what they are doing with the money, and I don't know how we can benefit from this loan.
Thank you very much. I attend to Sister Rose. Your question, I don't know what you were told, but from what I understand, that is the home renovation loan window. The 1 million they give for you to renovate house. That's what you're talking about. Yes. Well, the Act does not allow that. Okay. It only allows us to pay for a house. But if you have land by yourself that has a CFO, like I said, you can apply under the construction loan window. In that case, you would deposit that your CFO as collateral, and your bill of quantities will be assessed for whatever house you want to build. And if approved, the loan will be disbursed to you in 3 tranches. 30% first, another 30%, and then 40%. And at every stage, there will be in-house professionals to monitor the progress of work. So if your application is money to buy land, it will not fly, because the Act does not permit us to buy land for people. It permits us to buy houses, not land.
Even the house we are talking about is not working.
It's working. At least I have one. A pastor has one. We can attest to that. It's working. Yes, the process can be tiring, no doubt, but it works. Because I remember when I keyed into that project, I had a lot of friends then I was begging. people should come and key in. It was only it was 5.6 million, and later reviewed to 6.5 million or something. But so many of them were complaining, this one is too much, is this, is that, is the other one, is the other one. Nobody took me serious. But the day I showed them my keys, everybody was like, you didn't take us along. And I was like, but I was practically begging all of you. You told me it doesn't work. I didn't hide the fact that it took me 2 years. I did not hide that fact. Yes, it takes time, no doubt, but it works. Honestly, it does work. And then coming again to the fact that you said, they said the amount you could afford. Yes, the rule says, the act says 1/3 of your monthly income is the only portion that can service that loan. For instance, if you are earning 150,000 monthly, 1/3 of that 150,000 is 50,000. You're still left with 100,000. Anything that 50,000 can afford you is what you'll be given. We are not calculating your loan based on that your 150. No. It is only on 1/3 of that your 150. So now you cannot understand what they mean that you are earning 50,000, whatever 18,000 of that money will afford you is what you're going to be given. It makes it near impossible for somebody in that category to get any house. Truth be told, that's the truth. So that was why I said that the cooperative window is much better for the self-employed people, because this is a land you people acquire as a group. You have agreed the kind of houses you're going to build, and at the same time you have agreed that if we build this house, it should not be sold beyond this. And all of you had in mind then that the whole idea is for all of you to be able to benefit. So whatever you agree before coming to Federal Mortgage Bank is what you get. But if you want to assess what the developers have out there, aside your salary, you may have to declare another source of verifiable source of income that can boost your salary for you to assess a meaningful amount. Have I been able to answer you? Thank you very much. Any more questions?